What up, good brother?
What up? What up?
Chilling. How you?
I'm good. I gotta say some things real quick to set this off because some of the homies from the crib say, what I'm doing is treasonous. But in my defense, I want to say I take solace in the fact that the homie Anderson Hunt is a Detroiter.
Mm-hmm.
So off the strength of that, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
It's a big influence on Jalen Rose, you know.
Oh yeah, but forget all that. Now I gotta cut your head off, man. Shout out to the homie Jerry Tarkanian. Insta-town.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, for everybody watching, like, share, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel 82 Kings. Follow my big homie Mike Hillary at Hardcore Peace. This is the Mac TV sports debate series. I'm defending the 1990 UNLV Running Rebels, the team that gave Bobby Hurley nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
The team that I would even say that the Fab Five are the progeny of.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But yeah, the way it's gonna go, just so everybody knows, first round, I state my claim uninterrupted. The homie Mike states his claim uninterrupted, and after that, we just find holes in each other's argument and say that, go from there.
No doubt.
So, you want me to go first, or how you want to do it?
Do your thing, man.
All right. So, it's very hard betting against Detroit kids. Those two kids being Jalen Rose and Chris Webber, as well as Michael Talley, who was on the 93 squad. But I'm doing, I'm somewhat of a nerd, and looking at this whole situation objectively, UNLV was able to do something that the Fab Five never did, which was be the champion. Well, was to beat Duke in the championship by 30. And what else? They were able to not only had a swagger, but they were able to walk the walk. Looking at the numbers, the starters for the 1990 UNLV Running Rebels were David Butler out of DC, Greg Anthony out of Vegas, Stacey Augmon out of Pasadena, California, Anderson Hunt out of Detroit, and last but not least, Larry Johnson, product of Dallas, Texas. This squad, their average margin of victory that season in 1990 was 16 points. If you look at that starting five that I mentioned, Anderson Hunt was the most outstanding player in the NCAA tournament. Larry, what up, Jack? We having a heated basketball debate, man. You got to watch this, homie. Anderson Hunt was able to win the most outstanding player in the NCAA tournament. Larry Johnson was the first-team All-American. Who else? Stacey Augmon was actually, according to the National Basketball Coaches Association, something like that. Stacey Augmon was the Defensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
As far as being celebrated high school players, Michigan got us. Y'all got us. Y'all had 3 McDonald's All-Americans. But UNLV, the way Tarkanian did it, he pulled from the JUCO ranks. So it wasn't about like what the young boys was really doing in high school. He even though he did have some high school players, but most of the time he pulled from, again, the JUCO ranks. This team was running people off the court, man. Like to get to the NCAA championship and you beat Duke by 30, on national TV. Would they had that same roster that Michigan played against in 92 and beat the shit out of them? Sorry, Mom. Excuse my language.
Shout out to moms.
Yeah, man. It's like I feel like I can give you more data. But the starting five for Michigan in 93, I know, did the math. They averaged 50 plus points amongst each other. Starting five for UNLV averaged over 63 points. Again, the UNLV was gutter. Like I know you saw when they played Arkansas and LJ squared up against Todd Day. Like UNLV was a machine. Again, UNLV was a machine. UNLV was hungry. I feel like what was it? Your boy Nola Richardson said 40 minutes of chaos.
40 minutes of hell.
Oh, hell. Okay. What up, Jazz? 40 minutes of hell. UNLV to me was 40 minutes of organized destruction. Tarkanian's whole premise was, I don't care what you do on offense, just play defense.
Mm-hmm.
Hence their average margin of victory being 16 points. Their level of conditioning was just outstanding. It was damn near Olympian. If you watch them, I think a lot of people just broke down. Like they couldn't run with these boys. It's like it got to a point where they didn't have the stamina. And who was it? Who was the coach for the Green Bay Packers? He said, "What? Fatigue makes cowards of us all."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think they just ran out of gas. But real quick, I want to give a shout out to UNLV's coaching staff, Jerry Tarkanian. I can't pronounce these cast names. Ron Ganulin and Tim Gergich. I think, yeah, they brought that East Coast swag to the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, average margin of victory 16 points. They won the Big West Conference. Michigan actually came in second. That 93 team came in second in the Big Ten. I want to say Indiana.
It was Indiana. They lost Indiana by 1 point both games.
Okay, Indiana. But yeah, so the big, UNLV was conference champs. UNLV had shooters. But I think ultimately what differentiates UNLV from Michigan, and not even just from Michigan, but from all other teams, these cats play defense. Defense. As far as depth goes, George Ackles was I want to say, is he from Pittsburgh?
I'm not sure, but he was a monster. Him and Moses Curry are monsters.
Yeah, but he got hurt. He got hurt during the 1990 season, so he didn't play in the championship game. But they didn't really need him. I mean, Stacey ran him off the floor. Duke, that is. But yeah, you got it, bro. State your piece.
I mean, like we talked about last time, Michigan is a definitive team in my life. So my sister got this made.
Oh wow!
Right? She got somebody to do that.
Wow.
I think what like UNLV never faced a team like Michigan. All props. Listen, all respect due to Arkansas, right?
Okay.
Arkansas was more West Side Chicago. Okay, gritty, smack the floor on you on defense, all up in your jock. I call it kneecaps and all that when he playing D on you.
Right.
But they didn't face a 6'8" point guard who can look over Anderson, Hunt, Greg, Anthony, even Stacey Augmon, okay, and get the ball to the middle of the floor to where Juwan can either shoot, pass, dribble,
Mm.
and you got a dude with tremendous athleticism, better athlete than anybody on the floor, and Chris Webber.
Mm.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, the Amoeba defense was something spectacularly unique. And it was almost as if Jerry Tarkanian's brain was on the floor. Vastly better coach than Steve Fisher. Steve Fisher was really new at it, you know?
Mm.
And like you said, he went to JUCO route to fill out his roster to get those boys that he needed
Right.
to have the depth of heart, will, and soul to accomplish his goals, which his goals were bigger than just winning the game. He
What
wanted
else
to give
did
it to the NCAA.
Right.
So he went out and got the team that could do that. He was at Long Beach,
Right.
right? Okay.
Played there too.
Yes. And so, this UNLV was just an extension of what he wanted to do there. And, obviously it was a bigger reach for him. He was able to truly do some things. Like if you look back then when he had the top 25, they wouldn't have UNLV ranked very high. Like they may put them 5, but they would be like 23-1, 33-1, like crazy stuff.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Every year. This was every year. Because of the quality of conference, the competition wasn't what his team was. I got his son's book a few weeks ago in the mail, Writer Perk. I get books all the time. And I haven't sat down to read it yet, but obviously in this downtime, I'm going to be able to. When we talked about Juwan Howard last time, how he basically was the dot connector for the team. He was the smooth out, the comb over, the glue. When the team would become unhinged emotionally, he would reel them back in. His 6'10" skills in the middle of the floor on a consistent basis was something that UNLV never faced either. I could say here and say that Christian Laettner, one of the greatest college players of all time. Okay. But as far as being the facilitator, I'm giving the edge to Juwan Howard.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the fact that it wasn't just Michigan's athleticism and talent, it was their chemistry from loving each other. They loved each other because of how they were put together. And when they were first put in to start against Notre Dame as freshmen, the whole world changed. The whole world changed. And that team basically was only going to defeat itself. Now, obviously,
which kind of happened.
Of course it happened. I have some crazy thoughts, not crazy thoughts, but I have some thoughts on the losses, in that Duke game. This is Duke coming off of the loss or the win versus UNLV. Beating Kentucky, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so they like, man, we playing they're good, but we playing against young punks. you know, because they also were an extension of their coach, Mike Krzyzewski.
Definitely.
Okay. I've interviewed Coach. I don't personally like him. I don't like how he looked me off for other white reporters.
Wow.
I tried to speak intelligently to him to get him to step up to the intelligent questions I was trying to ask him pre-Olympics in Manhattan. So also interviewed Kobe that day,
Wow. R.I.P.
LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Dwight Howard, Jason Kidd. They were all there. And, you know, it was something to finally get to talk to such a celebrated coach. But I was disappointed in his response to me asking about Boozer and other of his former players that he was now coaching in the Olympics. I just wanted to get him to speak from almost a patriarchal sense, which he failed to do. So I already had a disdain for Duke anyway, because we had a kid out of Delaware when I lived in Delaware named Karma Wallace. She was a gifted athlete. He played at a school called Tower Hill, and
that public or private?
Private.
Okay.
Gifted school. And so when we heard that he was going to Duke, and a small school like a small state like Delaware, we get somebody goes to Duke and play in that story program. I mean, it was crazy. But they used him like the Celtics used Bill Russell as the defender, the athlete on the floor.
Right.
It's demeaning to me. I'm sorry. And so that was where my kind of seriously, to be honest, hatred for Mike Krzyzewski started. It didn't even at that time it didn't even encompass the charge foul.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. So he's building all kinds of blocks for me to hate him.
Okay.
Not hate him personally, but hate what he has done to the game. People like to give him mad props. I think that the charge foul puts the game in the past, because athletes coming down the lane are not going to try to jump over you as much.
Right.
Because they know that charge is coming.
Yeah, so it negates the athleticism.
Negates the athleticism, and also potentially can endanger a career through injury. So, when Michigan faced them, and if you remember, or if you have watched that game versus Duke, Michigan was rolling a little bit.
Yeah, they were up at halftime.
Okay. Then the fouls came on Weber. All right. Then the fouls came. This is necessary blackness, brother. Okay. It was necessary blackness when it was Georgetown. Continue with UNLV. 87. Oh, 80. Yeah, 87 when they faced Louisville. I think that was 87. I'm not sure. It might have been sooner than that.
Yeah.
Louisville was that squad.
87, one of them. Yeah.
It was 86. Never Nervous Purvis, Billy Thompson, and Wagner.
Was McCray on that team?
McCray was on that team. Yes. Okay. And, so those are the teams that I began to watch. We talked about this last time we talked. So when a team like Michigan comes to the fore, I'm Christmas eyes. Straight up Christmas eyes. Yes, the brothers. And playing at a school like Michigan, which, if you look in the crowd, it's a majority white crowd. So it's kind of melding cultures.
Right.
Which is a good thing for sports and life. And so I'm not down on players that go to white schools. you know, because it teaches them about life. They get to see something that they haven't seen before. Not in a
Right.
culture shock sense, because it shouldn't be anything about fear, but it's just about knowledge and wisdom that you acquire. You know, seeing how the other side does it. I'm cool with that. You know,
Got
so Steve Fisher, who, you know, coming off of '89 and winning the championship, you know, gets this squad, you know, and I'm sure he was probably like, oh shit, you know, look at what we got here,
right.
you know, look at what we got here. And they held off and held off until the team was ready to be assembled together and start and basically overpower you with chemistry and love of each other. The athleticism and skill wasn't even about it. They just had fun. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to have fun like that at 18. You're supposed to be like this scared little church mouse, freshman. You know, speaking of Nolan Richardson, his team, you know, at Texas Western, did not have to face Kareem because Kareem was a freshman that year.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So
Wow.
when I talked to Coach, I said to him, you know, what y'all think we did against Kareem? If he could have reached through that foam and grabbed my neck off, he would have. Because it was almost embarrassing to him that I asked that question.
You be
That's how
shaking up the pot, man.
that's how great that Texas Western team was. You know,
Wow.
man. Pat Riley was on that Kentucky team. You
Right.
know, but you know, Michigan, their UNLV kind of started this. Georgetown was a traditional team with a back-to-basket center, point guard, shooting guard, uh, small forward, big forward. You know,
Right.
that's how they did it. UNLV came in and switched it up and just put five brothers out there on the floor, regardless of position. And hence it became matchup hell for teams because they couldn't put a 6'2" guard on Stacey Augman,
Right.
who sometimes brought the ball up. You know,
Right.
okay. So it was just hell on the defensive coordinator for these teams. Michigan kind of did the same thing. You know, everybody was 6'5" and above on the team. You know, and so they were able to look over the defense. Just think of Travis Ford for Kentucky trying to guard Jalen Rose. Okay, that's why Kentucky lost. And Kentucky was a great team who came into the tournament in '93, beating everybody by 33 points.
Right. Well,
To the
Mashburn was
face.
in the team, right?
Ashburn, Roderick Rhodes,
Oh, I forgot about him. Yeah.
monster. Roderick Rhodes was the Fab Five. That's how athletic he was. But
Wow.
you know, to think of Michigan as they walked on a floor and intimidated the opposition strictly because of their physicality, how it looked. You know, the fact that all of these dudes were tall, you know, strong, and could ball.
Right.
And with the exception of Jalen, could play defense.
Why you do Jalen like that,
I'm
bro?
not. It's not a diss though. It's not a diss. I'm just saying that Jalen couldn't guard, like he couldn't go down and guard a power forward. If
Okay.
you're translating his height,
Okay.
okay. Now of course he could sit there in the middle of the floor and with like, almost like a Scottie Pippen wingspan sense, guard the middle of the floor. And then you had to get through Howard, and then Weber's going to throw your shit in the stands. You know,
Yeah.
so I think that people also dismiss the youth. You got to remember that the development of that UNLV team was they traveled and became experienced because they were coming from all parts of the country, JUCO-wise. Okay, it galvanized their spirit for sports because they became professionals in college.
Right.
Michigan's coming from high school.
But
They,
see,
let me finish, though, brother.
I
They
don't know if I know how long you want to keep going with your round, but okay.
okay, all right. You're right. Go ahead. You're right.
My whole stance is that like you said, the experience gives UNLV the leg up. You know, because a lot of these, what Jalen Rose and them, they were what, 18, 19?
Yeah,
They
18,
playing
19.
against them. They playing against what? Guys that were like
22. Yeah, no
you
question.
know, that had the same I would say that experienced the same social realities that the Fab Five did.
Mm-hmm.
As much tenacity, as much swagger, as much meanness. Well, I won't say you know what? I think Michigan had them beat on the swagger, but
It was a different generation of the culture.
okay, but
Michigan began to break down the authority, the authority of sports. That's why they were hated so much.
okay,
Because the culture at large felt like that they were disrespecting their elders.
gotcha.
That's what that was.
And weren't they getting a lot of like hate mail from Michigan alumni, like dropping M-bombs in the letters?
I mean, all that, we seeing now through the protests in Lansing, how Michigan is, which it kind of escapes it. It's just the Midwest. You know that. You're from there.
Yeah. So let's talk matchup. Jalen Rose, I would
What's
put.
up, Rashad?
What is that? Oh, I would have. I think Stacey Augmon would have at least. My argument is that Stacey Augmon, I think, would have at least neutralized Rose. Or
That's a problem though.
Why you say that?
Because that would allow Jimmy King or Ray Jackson to get off.
But I mean, I would.
They can shoot the three ball. I'm still a little bit annoyed with Ray Jackson because he was so pigeon-toed that his toe would be on the line, 3-point line, so many times. He probably would have scored so many points because he was shooting threes that end up being twos. But speaking of outside game, there's Jake Vasco, and obviously Kobe's agent, Rob Pelinka. Yes. So they had shooters as well. But if you're going to put Stacey Augmon on Jalen Rose, you're going to suffer because Jimmy King was not a willing scorer because he was a great teammate that he basically was setting the table for everybody. That's how all the team was, I thought. Like, you didn't have nobody on the team really had like a killer instinct.
That's true.
Because they were just so galvanized as a team. And being so galvanized as a team, they just didn't have that one guy who they could go to. They didn't have to go to one guy. They were just so much of a matchup problem for everybody else. Huh?
You don't think that was Weber?
I mean, but Weber's he doesn't have the ball at the top of the key. I mean, he's pivoting in the lane, trying to get in a position for that pivot dunk that we talked about so many times. So that little bank shot that he would do, that little jump baby hook that he had, if he couldn't overpower his opposition, you're going to have to put Larry Johnson on Weber. Okay, you're going to have to do that because you're not. It's not just about the matchup. Like, putting a center on him, Weber is going to kill UNLV center.
Oh, definitely. But David Butler wasn't no point though. David Butler was solid.
He was solid, but just think back to
he averaged 16 to 10.
Right, but just think back to the squad that Temple tried to throw at Michigan. Okay, where they were throwing goons at him, trying to get him off his game.
Right.
You know, and it was something that you know, John Chaney did not like the Fab Five because he thought that they disrespected the game. But him coming from the old school, I get it. Philly Cat, and I might have talked about that in our interview. I was John Chaney's last interview before he retired.
Wow.
You know, it was at the time the highlight of my life. Then came Spencer Haywood. I was working for a site called Black Sports Network, and the proprietor David Cole put me under his wing, and I give him all credit to being an interviewer, organizer, of doing the stuff that I do, because he gave me, at the time it was Bomani Jones, Dave Zirin,
Michigan man, right? Bomani?
Nah, right, he's from Durham.
Oh no, I'm thinking of somebody else. No.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, it was a lot of superstar writers there, and I just came off the scrap heap of divorce and was thrown in with these guys, and somehow was able to step up and finally do what I do now from an interview standpoint. But you know, John Chaney did not like the team, but he tried to beat up Weber, you know, and it kind of backfired.
Yeah, that didn't work at all.
Yeah. So I mean, they had a great team with Brunson and
Eddie
Jones and you know Aaron McKee.
Yeah.
You know, Blue. Shout out to Blue, Miss Temple coach now. You know, who I had honor to interview when he was played for the Sixers. Man, I mean, I love that team. I love Temple, but you know, that was the issue. What people aren't understanding when you are comparing a team like UNLV and Michigan. Yes, Michigan did not win. Okay? They did not win. Yet, if you look at the teams they face UNLV type teams veteran wise.
True.
Okay? And there was also this anti-Fab Five sentiment.
From the refs?
I'm not going to go. I'm talking about just a broad thing. Okay? Because they felt like they did not respect authority. It was blackness stepping up and basically saying, "Fuck you. This is who we are. Sorry, Mom. This is who we are, and this is who we're going to be unabashedly. We can't care about what you think we want to be, who we should be." Like, it's the problem that, you know, just looking at the Michael Jordan doc, The Last Dance, you know, and the Chicago Bulls doc. I did not like that about Mike. I felt like he was almost subservient to older white men all the time.
I got a story about that.
You know, and it's the reason why I never really was a fan of Mike. I appreciate Mike's talent, and I appreciate what he's done for the game. You know, I appreciate what he's done for Chicago. You know, I got conflicting, you know, perceptions on who Mike was to Chicago, but the most people said that he did stuff for Chicago, which I did not know. You know, summer camps and, you know, apparel and all kinds of things that just wasn't reported. I got some Michael Jordan stories from athletes that are really not, you know, they're critical of Mike. You know, they really are. But as far as a basketball player, all praise due to Mike. I mean, straight up. But that Michigan team did not care. And that's what I like. They had fun. and they really just wanted to have fun beating you and destroying you in flurries, Sugar Ray like flurries, 10, 15 points at a time on you, 3-pointers, switch ups, lobs, and ones, roar the crowd, more smiles, blocks, steals, round the back passes.
Who's guarding Anderson
Look
Hunt?
off. Huh?
Who's guarding Anderson Hunt? Who's sticking him? Who you putting on Anderson Hunt?
I'm putting Jimmy King on Anderson Hunt.
He's gonna lock Anderson Hunt down?
He gonna lock Anderson Hunt
Oh,
down.
come on,
Listen,
homie.
man. Listen. What was the difference between Michigan and most teams is that they had a defensive side to them. I talked about the last time about that double down that they would do in the corner, and then get the steal off the deflection for a Jimmy King dunk, right?
Yeah.
This was a team like look, just think about what Jimmy King did to Travis Ford in that Kentucky game. I think he didn't score a point until late in the second half.
Yeah.
And I'm not comparing Anderson Hunt and Travis Ford, but what I'm saying is he had the ability to be a lockdown defender, the same as Ray Jackson. So they had interchangeable parts. And that thing was the differentiator for me and most teams, because Michigan had the ability to change on defense, not in a structure set like the amoeba,
right,
or even the zone for Boeheim.
right.
They could play any type of defense. Because
But
of
how
Ray
structured was
Jackson,
Michigan?
huh?
How structured was Michigan?
I mean, there wasn't a lot of structure. Outside of the amoeba, there really wasn't no structure for UNLV. It was basically a coaching and practice, putting his team in position to win on game day, and that's what Michigan did. He let the kids play. Jerry Cartanian let the kids play, and that's not taking away anything from him as a coach, but he sat on the bench and bit that towel. You know what I mean? I mean, you didn't hear him bark out a lot of stuff. I love Jerry Tarkanian. I wanted Jerry Tarkanian to give the NCAA anything and everything, because I like what he did for young brothers. I really appreciated him for that, and it was genuine. You know what I mean? You didn't see like a almost like a patriarchal sense where he's standing over these kids like, you better do what you're supposed to do here, boy. Like there was none of that. You know what I mean? There was none of that. He was laid back. Yes, he was fiery. The players knew more of his personality than what you saw on TV, obviously. But
right.
Tarkanian made sure that those players used their ability in their own individual minds to accomplish his goals of winning. This you can match up. So Anderson Hunt, Jimmy King. Okay, you're going to have to put. This is the problem, because you almost have to put the other on Greg Anthony.
Who's that?
Either Ray Jackson or Jimmy King on switching off on between Anderson Hunt and Greg Anthony.
So okay.
I don't know. Jalen would have to play Stacey Augum, because if you look at Stacey back then, he really wasn't like, he was capable of being an offensive player, but that's not what he did.
I
He
think
did
he
stuff.
got a lot of. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He did stuff in transition. He did stuff off the same type of players that Ray Jackson and Jimmy King was. Spider was a longer version of what they did. It was hard to really go against him from an offensive standpoint because, you know, he just had the ability to move in ways that very few players ever have on defense.
Right.
Because his length, you know, his quick twitch, and it was almost like a smooth
Yeah, he was
thing
smooth.
that he did. You
He
know,
was smooth with it.
he was very smooth with it. You know,
But
you
what
know,
about Larry Johnson?
what's I'm saying? Weber's going to have to play him. You're
But
going
can
to
he
put
play him
Weber. You're
15
going to get
out?
Howard, huh?
Can he play? Can realistically? Because we know LJ was multifaceted.
Yes, very.
I don't know if Weber could have guarded him 15 feet away from the basket.
I don't know either. And I'm not saying that he could have, but what I'm saying is, I just, you know, I seriously I cancel out Larry Johnson and Weber. I just put them to the side
Okay.
because they're both going to kill each other offensively. Okay, Larry Johnson was very strong, and you know maybe he would have tried to old man Weber even on defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think Weber with his length and his arms and his strength was just ripping down the rim if he got anything close to the basket if Larry
Mm-hmm.
Johnson's guarding him.
I just don't know if Weber could have just big boy Larry Johnson like that.
I mean, if he holds the ball away from Larry Johnson, how is Larry Johnson going to like? So okay, so when people ask me about Michael Jordan versus LeBron James,
Mm-hmm.
right? And,
Mm-hmm.
and if you think about it, if LeBron James got the ball around the basket, there was nothing that Mike could do.
At all.
Okay, there's like nothing. There's nothing that Mike can do. A lot of people like to just boost up Mike a little bit and say that, you know, he would have won that matchup. I don't know if Mike would have got the ball back. Now, we could talk about how LeBron has an undeveloped post game, which he does. He doesn't like to play in the post. I get it, you know. But and the same thing with that sense. I don't think that Larry Johnson could have guarded Chris Webber. I just think that now can he guard Juwan Howard? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But Webber, people don't remember how athletically gifted he was. Like
Right.
we're talking like Sean Kemp athleticism. Okay, as a comparison, that's how. Now he didn't have that killer in him that Sean Kemp did, but in terms of actual athleticism, yeah,
Oh, yeah, he's up there.
yeah. I mean, just before his knee injuries, I mean that's the reason why he was allowed to hold Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan and Rasheed Wallace at bay because he was just so athletically gifted, and he had a nice little game around the rim, and that's the reason why Webber was able to be successful, from day one. He also was coached by Spencer Haywood when he was 12 years old.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Him and Jalen Rose, so the pedigree was there. So given that he was coached by a Hall of Famer at age 12, which not a lot of kids are privy to, there was a maturity that allowed him and Rose to play as freshmen.
Right.
Okay, so they didn't look at the game from an age standpoint. I would tell my son this. I was like, look, you're playing against everyone of your age around the country. That's who you're going to be compared to. Okay, so you got to look at it in a broad sense. So Webber being one of the most recruited players ever, okay, already had the skills when he came to Michigan to be a pro player.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And it's a shame that the rules did not allow him. But, I mean, it was a foregone conclusion as a sophomore that he was going to the pros.
Oh, yeah.
And was going to be the number one pick. I mean, it was an easy decision.
I think if he had stayed another year, they would have got it.
Well, I mean, I thought that they would have gone to the Final Four if not for that elbow shot by Jalen Rose rimming out versus Arkansas.
Yeah.
You know, the game broke my heart because that would have been 3 straight Final Fours there.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, Duke ended up beating Arkansas with Grant Hill being a point forward. You know,
Oh, I think Arkansas won. Didn't they win in '94?
they beat
Arkansas.
Duke.
Yeah, they beat Duke and Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew it was either or.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that the experience factor is something that you can't take away from UNLV. But if you look at great players and great teams, they get better every game, and that's what Michigan was doing. You coming
Right.
off of a '92 team where everything was fun, and you know they got to the final, which shocked the world. You know, the next year nothing was fun. There was a lot of criticism. You know, people were calling them all kinds of names because they was the big dog. You know, and at that time it was Duke, North Carolina, Indiana. That's
Right.
who it was. Okay, so here comes this school who has always been a traditional power in every sport, starring 5 black dudes with bald heads and black socks and Charles Barkley's long shorts, you know.
And
So they did not like them. It was almost like Michigan was a futuristic squad at the time, you know. So given that they had the experience of getting blown out by Duke in the previous year, you know, they were ready for anyone. That '93 game was just weird to me. If you remember watching it, there was a point in the game where there was like all these substitutions and guys that never played before was getting out there, you
wow,
know,
really?
and
Wow.
that was weird to me. You know, watch the game again, you'll see it. You're like, yo, this is kind of weird. You know, in the championship game, they got dudes that don't even play all year or playing.
Was it because of foul
You know,
trouble?
no, I think it was a way for both coaches to rest their teams, both emotionally and physically. You know, if there can be any explanation for it, you know, that's what I would say. But UNLV definite experience edge. I would say seriously that Michigan was more talented. I think Michigan was more talented. You know, because if you look at it, how everything transferred to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
You got 3 dudes who had 10-year careers. You know,
And UNLV had to.
Greg Anthony. They had Stacey Augmon had a nice career. You know, he had a nice career, but you know, and I would compare Stacey and Jalen's career. Okay, I would compare Howard and Greg Anthony's career, even though Jawan was $100 million contract guy.
Awesome.
Did we stop there?
Hello?
Huh?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah.
Here we go. This happened last time. There you go. Yeah, we going in and out, man. I got the circle on my screen.
Man. Well, we can part 2, man. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you, bro.